If you didn't see part 1 of this video, the full playlist will be right at the top of the description, so you can start from the beginning. Thank you to Dr. Dread, our Patreon sponsor for this video, and thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Hello everyone, my name is Andrew AJT, and welcome back to Pre EoC RuneScape. This will probably be the last part for now, although maybe I'll pick this series back up in the future. And we are going to start with a big day in RuneScape history, the pull to return free trade and the wilderness to RuneScape, which was a huge deal at the time. We talked in the last video about the trade limit and kind of the good things it did, but I maybe didn't really get into the bad aspects of it at the time. Obviously, it was pretty annoying not being able to PK and get the loot that you deserved, or being able to trade someone what you want to trade, and having to use junk items and all that stuff. It wasn't great overall, even though there was some positives. So Jagex made this big update post saying you could vote here to bring it back, and honestly, looking back, this was probably just a publicity thing, because at least for the first one, because there was like 2 phases of it, there was no way to even vote no. And they said at the bottom there that maybe even 1 million votes isn't going to be enough, when clearly they were going to bring it back almost no matter what, at least in my opinion. I really don't get the sense that they would have done this whole thing just to say, you know what, we got over 1 million votes, but you know, we're just not going to bring it back, guys, never mind. I thought even at the time that there was no way that's going to happen, but who knows, maybe I'm wrong. This poll got about 1.7 million yes votes, and again, there was no way to actually vote no. They did a second poll, which got around 1.2 million votes, and I think something like 91% of them actually said yes, so clearly everyone wanted it, and it was a big deal. It really generated a lot of hype around the game. You can see 180,000 people or so playing at the top left there. Weird to see ads, by the way, on the RuneScape website. I don't think they have those anymore. But eventually free trade did come back, and it was probably the most hype we've ever seen in the game, other than maybe the release of OSRS. So even though I might question why this poll needed to happen in the first place for practical reasons, we can certainly say it did a really good job generating some excitement around the game. So if you've been playing this game a long time, I'm guessing the one thing you'll always remember is your very first 99, and I certainly do, because there was kind of a funny thing that happened when I got it. Here was me training to 92, which was halfway there at the time, and that was actually a pretty big accomplishment. People would actually just train skills to 92 and say, oh, look at that, I'm halfway to 99. This was at Armored Zombies, which was the best training method at the time, because you could use a salve amulet, there was an altar right upstairs. It was very, very good XP, very AFK. You see I got the bunyip there for free HP every once in a while, so this place was extremely popular. But I did most of my training through Slayer ultimately, and you can see 95 attack here. It was very fun to train Slayer and train your combat stats at the same time. Spiritual mages were one of my favorite tasks because they were so profitable, but Necreals and eventually Abyssal Demons were fairly good as well. And you can see here I'm actually 1 XP away from 99 attack. I really made a point to get this to just 1 XP away. And then I made a huge mistake. I forgot the Guthix spear gave controlled XP, and I got 99 attack accidentally when I had already planned a 99 attack party. Whoops, that was definitely the biggest mistake I can remember on RuneScape as far as getting a 99 or a level accidentally. And you see here, just in my house all alone, getting the 99 attack and popping up that message. That was one thing I missed, is you could actually click on the skill to review all of the stuff that you've unlocked for getting 99 or for whatever level. Nowadays on OSRS, if you miss that message, there's no way to really get it back. We still did end up having the 99 party though, and had a little house party right before that. House parties were very common, not just people using the gilded altars, but also just people having fun in the combat ring and testing out their new weapons. This was a pretty fun way to do PvP back then without any risk. And because I missed the level the first time, I actually pretended to get it here, which is kind of sad to think about, but that was actually probably not unheard of at the time, to have to redo this even though I'm already 99 attack. We're just going to pretend that this is the hit that gives me it here, so we can see all these nice messages that everyone's writing. Let me know in the comments, what was your first 99 ever in RuneScape, whether it was Pre EoC or RuneScape Classic or OSRS or RuneScape 3. I'm just curious to know, what was your first one, and was it like a big deal for you at the time? Was it something you worked towards for a long time and just felt very proud about? Certainly for 99 attack back in 2010, I was very happy to get this and get my untrimmed 99 attack cape. Here was an Armadillo mask we did in 2011 with the clan chat, and you can see a lot of differences. We got the enhanced Excalibur in my inventory. That was actually an item you could use where it would give you like 40 HP over around a minute after you use the special attack. We have other things like the Cursed Prayers. You can see overhead, they're a little bit different than the normal prayers, and there was other things like Turmoil, which was a little bit more powerful than Piety. We have all these summoning familiars bringing so much supplies and brews and restores with us. We have overloads in the inventory, which gave you really, really high stat bonuses. We have Soul Split, which healed you. There was definitely a lot of OP stuff at the time, although it wasn't quite as noticeable because the overall skill level in the game was not as high. So today we have people going to God Wars and they're prey flicking every minion, and they're prey flicking in a way where they're not even using prayer at all. There wasn't really any of that stuff back then, so I guess you could say the OP stuff at the time didn't feel quite as overpowered. And they did release a new content that was more challenging, such as Nex, and you could get Torva, Virtus, and Pernix from that. That was a really cool boss to do, and something I'm almost surprised we don't have in OSRS yet. The one change I certainly did not like at the time was changing HP to Constitution, which added another digit to it, so instead of 99 HP, you would have 990 HP. I guess it made your hits a little bit more precise, if that makes any sense, as we see the enhanced Excalibur in action there. But it was overall just kind of annoying. They did this for Prayer later on as well. Nobody really knew about the one-tick prayer flicking that people do in OSRS today, but I bet if we did know about that, it wouldn't have worked with the 3-digit prayer flicking because you'd be able to lose less than 1 prayer point at a time. Here's some Darok maxing in the old Clan Wars portal after the Constitution update happened. You can see the triple-digit hits there. And Clan Wars was very popular, and they actually recreated this whole arena for OSRS pretty much from scratch as far as I know. You can also see us using that carrot there, which was one of the Easter event items. People did really care about the holiday events, and there was always a lot of speculation as to what the rewards would be. Here's my highest hit, a 1075, which was probably around the best you could do. This is some really weird footage. So there was a 2011 Christmas event in December, and I guess I started it on this alt account and I didn't finish it. So when I logged into this account again in August of 2012, I was still in the event area, but the NPC here is telling me that he's kicking me out and the event is over. That's so weird that the event still exists in the game in August after Christmas is long gone. It makes me wonder what other old holiday events are still existing in the game even though they're long since passed. I know other weird things like this have happened, like when they added the bounty hunter creators, people who were logged out in that area of the wilderness would be like stuck in the wall or something, and they would have to have a JMod rescue them. You never know where you're going to end up when you log out for a long time. One thing I think they really got right in Pre EoC was finishing up all these quest lines really well. So for example, I'm doing Branches of Darkmire here, which continues along the Myrique and Mauritania series, and also there's a really good quest line with Zanuck and the Cave Goblins. When the OSRS backup was made in 2007, which was used to release OSRS in 2013, a lot of these quest lines were kind of half done, and in OSRS we've gotten kind of hurried conclusions, I feel, to a lot of these quest lines, and they've just been really used as tools to bring new content without too much focus on the quest line itself. And it is defensible that they did that. For example, I'm sure more people care about Theater of Blood than they would what happens in the Mire Ditch quest line, but the stories for these quests were well done. The dialogue, the music, the environments. It was a very cool experience completing a lot of these Grandmaster type quests, and the boss fights were pretty unique as well. Now, I've mentioned this a long time ago, but speaking of the OSRS aspect of it, as far as completing these quest lines, it is true that they have partially completed versions of the Land of the Goblins quest and the Path of Glowfree quests already in the OSRS code from the backup. I guess they were in development at the time when the backup was made, and they are capable of finishing these quests and releasing them, but they really haven't shown much interest in doing this recently from what I've found. Here's an old Reddit thread of Mod Kieran basically saying we're not super interested in doing that. I guess because it would take some development time, and also those quests do not complete the quest lines that they're a part of, but I still think they would be cool additions, and maybe if people like them, there would be some interest in recreating those other quests that actually finish the quest lines, such as the Chosen Commander with the Goblins one. This boss fight was really unique because you can actually play as this vampire here. It's so rare in RuneScape that you actually have other playable characters. I know in the Goblin ones you could actually play as Zanuck briefly. I always love games with multiple playable characters, and it's something RuneScape very rarely has, but certainly has potential to do. Here is the quest complete, and also I really love the look of this Firewatch gear, I think it is, that I'm wearing here. Also, you got a free teleport to Barrows with the Draken's Medallion from completing the quest, and this was a big deal when it came out because previously you really didn't have a quick way to get to Barrows. I also found some footage which I didn't even know I had from the While Guthix Sleeps boss fight, which you can see here. This was like the quest to end all quests. People were so hyped about this, and Jagex really previewed it really well and created a lot of excitement around it, and it was very cool. The quest itself took like a whole day. Who knows, maybe in RuneScape 3 you can go do it in like 2 hours or something, but this was definitely a very difficult quest, and afterwards you could do Tormented Demons, which were pretty similar to Maniacal Monkeys today. Tormented Demons were interesting because there was really just one rare drop that you would get, and that was Dragon Claws. There wasn't really this consistent flow of GP like you see with bosses today. And they were a place where you would go and pretty much lose your soul. People would spend way too much time at Tormented Demons because that big hope of getting a claw drop was really tempting. And I did so much Tormented Demons, and I never got that Dragon Claw drop, so maybe I'll just have to get one in the Chambers of Xeric. So because this is the last pre-EoC video for now, most likely, although let me know if you do want to see a part 4. I can definitely come back to this series at a later date. I figure there's no better way to end this one than by showing the very last day of pre-EoC, and I mean that literally. This is the last day before EoC was released. This is on November 19th, 2012, and there were actually a lot of people PKing because everyone wanted to enjoy the old combat system one last time. You see Regicidal in the chat. I think he was actually a JMod later. He definitely made a lot of RuneScape music videos, which is a whole other topic we could get into another time. I actually was curious, so I looked it up, and Regicidal was a JMod for quite a long time. He actually just left Jagex as Modly back in August of 2019. But yes, this was a very sad day in RuneScape history, probably the saddest I can remember. I mean, yeah, when they removed the wilderness and stuff, that sucked, but it was still pretty much the same game. Whereas this we knew was going to completely change RuneScape forever, or at least for a few years, and it really was just not popular. There was the EoC beta, which nobody really liked. I mean, of course some people liked it, but there was really a sense that it was going to hurt the game, and I think it really did that. EoC was really the only era in RuneScape since I started that I really just didn't play at all. I think I tried for a few weeks and I just never got into it, and I'm sure they improved it over the years. Like, it probably got a lot better. They added Legacy and all that later on, but by then a lot of people were gone, so it was a little bit too late, and I just wish they never did that. Although, who knows, maybe it's a good thing because we have OSRS now, and we probably wouldn't have if they never did EoC. All of this is just my opinion, of course. Maybe some people actually found RuneScape because of EoC, who knows, and a lot of people did say that, oh, the RuneScape combat system is too basic and this is going to be a big improvement, but for me it really was just not something I enjoyed. And really in RuneScape, the thing that I've always liked is the combat, so when they changed the combat, I really lost interest quickly. I mean, it's not like it was the only bad change ever. For example, I really don't like the graphics here of the rune and the Natiznot, even though I probably would get used to them over time. I like the old school graphics better. You see some people on the top left wearing like toe rags or Daroks maybe. That doesn't really look too good, honestly. It looks a little bit too cartoony compared to some of the earlier pre-EoC years that I've shown you. One thing that really sucked is special attacks were going to be removed, and a lot of weapons that had unique abilities to them kind of were being made useless, and it just didn't feel right. RuneScape is designed to be like a basic type of game where you just click to attack someone and then you just keep poking them with your dagger, and then maybe You can turn on a prayer and eat a food if you need to, but it's not really designed to be this game where you're clicking abilities and doing 100 different things at once. So like I said, this was such a sad day for me, just doing this PKing one last time. It would be cool to go back just to this one day and ask people what do they think about it. You see people in my clan chat saying EoC is being rushed. That's one thing I heard quite a lot, and maybe there's some truth to that, because I have heard a lot of people say RuneScape 3 is actually pretty fun, the abilities are cool and all that. So I'm sure the improvements that they've made to them since are really good, but it just didn't feel like it was a natural transition at the time to literally have the game be one way this day and then being able to log in on November 20th and everything being completely different, even if they did do a beta that was publicly available. One thing that's definitely worth noting is it only took them around 3 months after EoC was published to put out OSRS, so I'd speculate maybe there was thought of, hey, we just made this big update and it wasn't super popular, but why don't we put an old school version of the game out so we can retain some of these players? And it's kind of funny how OSRS has morphed into the main version of the game when it was really just intended to be more of a side thing, as far as I can remember. There was originally a lot of talk that OSRS wasn't even going to get game updates or anything, and it pretty much stayed that way for around the first year. So that's going to do it for now. Let me know again if you do want to see that part 4. Maybe I'll come back to this in a couple months, so keep an eye on the playlist for this, so if I ever do make a part 4, it'll be in there. Also, make sure you check out the Rare Pictures of 2006 RuneScape playlist if you haven't seen that already. All of those will be down below. This isn't necessarily the last video I'm going to do in the near future about RuneScape's history. I'm considering doing an interview soon with someone who knows way more about RuneScape's history than I do, so keep an eye out for that. I'm not sure if it's definitely going to happen, but I feel like we can make it work, and if it does happen, you guys will see that this guy is very, very knowledgeable about pretty much every era of the game. Make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed. That's the best way to show your support. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon to all notifications so you get a notification whenever I upload every Tuesday. You can join my clan chat in game, AndrewAJT62. You can join our Discord down below. You can follow me on Twitter down below at AndrewAJT. And if you want to support me even further, you can check out my Patreon page in the end screen. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.